Welcome back to Squawk Box. Hailed by believers as crucial to the future of business, but often deemed a little too risky, maybe very too risky for institutional adoption. Blockchain trustworthiness is at the crux of the crypto conversation. Joining us right now with a new strategy to reduce risk in blockchain is Will McDonough. He is the iCash founder and CEO. He's also the founder of Proof of Trust Protocol. And I want to start there with the Proof of Trust Protocol, because one of the biggest issues with crypto, Bitcoin in particular, is this idea that not only is it being used for money laundering, but one of the reasons it can be used for things like money laundering and other things is because there's no real way to track it. And that's what you're trying to change.
Look, it's impossible to truly track because the destination addresses and sources are just 26-digit codes. And so unless you can allocate that code to a human being or to an entity, that's the only tracking you can do. What our technology allows for is for the validation of those transactions so that you can take confidence in the destination of the Bitcoin or the crypto asset being where you wanted it to be. So if you were an institution transacting on blockchain, right now that transaction is irreversible. So if you find that the ultimate destination is not where you sought it to be, you can't halt that trade, you can't bring in an adjudication layer to assess that and to elevate it to a network of people to ensure that it's accurate.
Okay, so there's two complications. One is that's a huge benefit because people say, I'm not going to own a Bitcoin. If I could literally lose my Bitcoin, it could be gone forever.
That's our thesis.
This would solve that.
Yep.
But to some degree, it seems to upend the entire idea of Bitcoin, which is that Bitcoin, the very concept is it's supposed to be a trustworthy system without an adjudicator in the middle, without an individual judiciary that's actually making these decisions. And so doesn't that sort of change the dynamic here?
It does. You know, Bitcoin or blockchain maximalists, as they call them, preach that this system is trustless and nobody needs that. But we all know that no institutions will adopt a protocol or a technology that is trustless and that there's no reversibility or layer of checks and balances within. So everybody in blockchain says the institutions are coming, institutional quality capital is coming. It ain't coming unless you have an adjudication layer.
And so just so I understand, this layer gets layered on top of Bitcoin. Some people will trade with it, but I imagine some people will trade without it.
So it would be layered on any blockchain, of which Bitcoin is one, but more appropriately, it would be layered into a smart contract network, where a smart contract would be, you and I have 5 attributes to a contract that gradually come together over time, and if at any one of those if at any one of those junctures, one of us wants to contest the fact that that shipment got to that port or that contract attribute was delivered, the other party could halt it and adjudicate it.
Just stick with me on cryptocurrency for a second before we go back to the blockchain. How much of this is about turning Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies like that into an actual currency as opposed to a commodity, right? Because that's the other piece of this.
Look, the IRS says it's a property. The CFTC says it's a commodity. The SEC says it's a security. All people want is clarity around that. At the end of the day, a crypto asset or a cryptocurrency is the exclusive vehicle that can operate this spectacular technology that's blockchain.
Bitcoin right now, and I'm using it as a proxy for all of this, is at about $6,300 right now. You think that's still very cheap?
I do.
It's cheap insofar as what happens, meaning what has to happen for it to actually move meaningfully higher?
Bitcoin is a fixed supply asset. So long as there's more demand for it tomorrow than there was today, that means it has to go up. It's not a stable asset that, there was a headline on CNBC that was excellent, but it said last week the markets were down 3% and Bitcoin was up 1%. That's not what this is. But I will tell you this, it's an uncorrelated asset. And if you're looking for a way to get exposure to an uncorrelated asset class, that you could put...
Will all of this only happen until and unless institutions actually get involved? And will they not get involved until and unless things like what you're talking about with this protocol happen?
No question.
Okay. We got to leave it there. Thank you, sir. It's nice to see you, Will. Thank you. Will McDonough from iCash.